Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. It's been 2 years since a Madison County man was hit and killed by a car. His death remains unsolved. Now investigators are hoping to shine a new light on the case to bring justice for the family of Thomas Beshears. Lucy Bryson talked to his family.
Thomas Beshears was 19 years old when he was killed in a hit-and-run crash. The crash happened in 2021, and although it's been 2 years, the person who hit him has not yet been found, leaving the case cold and the family with questions.
Was it just a simple hit-and-run? I don't know. I want something. Justice. I just want some justice.
Taylor is Thomas's older sister. She says that through this, she may finally get answers.
I am pretty grateful because I'm always questioning, like, what happened? Who did it? Why? You know? Why didn't they call 911 if it was something?
And although the family can't bring him back, she hopes to gain some peace from this.
I mean, I'd like closure. I'd like peace or something to make some kind of peace with it, because it's hard to sleep at night. Like, I just think about it all the time, 24/7.
The investigation was recently shared in a Facebook post to people in Madison County, reminding them of the situation and urging people to come forward with answers. Officials say there was limited evidence on the scene, but from what they do know, they believe that the car that hit Beshear was a passenger vehicle rather than a truck, and they believe that the make and model was more likely to be from the late 90s and early 2000s than a current vehicle. And although there aren't many answers, the sheriff's office still believes in trying for the family.
We're going to continue to gather all the information we can to get some closure for them in the death of their family member.
In Madison County, Lucy Bryson, WKYT.
Anyone with information about the crash is asked to call the Madison County Sheriff's Office. One man is dead and 3 others injured after a shooting in Tulsa, Oklahoma yesterday evening. Police say as of now they are still looking for the suspect. They consider the person armed, dangerous, and a threat to the public. Police say 2 of the victims are in critical condition. The status of the third is unknown.
Continuing to see a little bit of that wildfire smoke cut into the sunshine we've seen so far today. Here's the view from Buffalo Mountain in Perry County, and yeah, the smoke's getting a little thick out there. Upper 70s to near 80 at the moment. Seeing some numbers: 81 Grundy, 80 in Jackson, upper 70s elsewhere. How about the Cumberland Valley? Low to middle 80s. Look at Monticello at 86. Not a bad day to be on the lake, or be in the lake, really. Low 60s out there for dew points and upper 50s, so we're starting to get that kind of June feel returning. It's not there yet. Watching a couple of downpours out towards the kind of I-81 corridor into southwest Virginia, but for the most part, we have remained dry for the day, and that looks to continue through the evening. Next 12 hours, plenty of clear skies. Just have to watch the patchy fog. We go from the upper 70s down into the low to mid 60s this evening. Steve, I'll have the latest on when we see a return to more shower activity in a few minutes.
All right, Evan, thank you. While former President Donald Trump and the legal trouble he faces is taking a lot of oxygen away from the 2024 campaign, the Republican field for the nomination continues to grow. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from Washington.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Former President Trump's campaign says it has raised more than $7 million in the face of a historic indictment. That includes more than $2 million brought in from a Bedminster, New Jersey fundraiser the day he was arraigned.
This is called election interference and yet another attempt to rig and steal a presidential election. But they will fail and we will win bigger and better than ever before.
Trump's legal battles continue to dominate the race for the Republican presidential nomination.
If my candidacy is going to be about responding to things that former President Trump did, then there's not going to be much of a candidacy. By the way, not for me and not for any other Republican nominees.
Miami Mayor Francis Suarez dodged interview questions about Trump after officially launching his White House bid.
I'm going to run for president.
With a video on Twitter Thursday morning. Out on the campaign trail, the Republican hopefuls are facing new questions about whether they'd pardon Trump if elected president. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley pledged to pardon Trump, saying it would be bad for the country to see him in jail. Trump's former vice president wouldn't say one way or the other.
There are serious charges in this indictment. Now, the president's entitled to make his defense. I look forward to hearing what defense he might have, but I can't defend what is alleged.
While most GOP candidates are treading lightly, Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie have been the most vocal critics. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Suarez's Twitter announcement included a call for people to donate at least $1 to his campaign in order to help him become eligible for the GOP primary debates beginning in August. Former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has been ordered to pay the city nearly $500,000. The city's Conflict of Interest Board determined he misused government resources during his failed White House bid in 2019. De Blasio has been ordered to pay city taxpayers a fine of $155,000 plus nearly $320,000 to reimburse the city for the cost of his NYPD detail. De Blasio's attorney issued a response saying they will challenge the board in court. President Biden says he's making good on his pledge to eliminate hidden fees that cost consumers millions of dollars a year. Executives from major ticketing and event companies joined him for that announcement. CBS's Skylar Henry has that.
Reaching a tentative agreement.
President Biden says it's time to crack down on those hidden fees that sneak into consumer bills and met with some of the executives promising to join that effort.
Junk fees are not a matter for the wealthy very much, but they're a matter for working folks like the homes I grew up in. And they can add hundreds of dollars a month and make it harder for families to pay their bills. I think it's just wrong.
The meeting at the White House comes 4 months after the president promised action against so-called junk fees during his State of the Union address.
I know how unfair it feels when a company overcharges you and gets away with it. Not anymore.
He was joined on Thursday by executives from private sector companies that offer all-in pricing or have agreed to in the coming months. Companies including Live Nation and its Ticketmaster platform, as well as SeatGeek, Airbnb, and some event venues that have committed to eliminating hidden fees.
Live Nation came under fire earlier this year for the botched handling of Taylor Swift concert tickets and for including surprise fees.
It's now committing to upfront pricing at its venues and through Ticketmaster, making the total cost visible from the start.
This is a win for consumers in my view, and proof that our crackdown on junk fees has real momentum.
Live Nation hosts more than 30 million fans at hundreds of U.S. venues and festivals every year. With inflation continuing to plague American families, the White House says ending the unwelcome surprise of hidden fees is a step toward helping consumers manage their money. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
President Biden has also called for legislation and regulations to end the practice of undisclosed fees. Consumers do not seem ready to slow their spending despite high interest rates and economic concerns. A Commerce Department report out today shows retail sales were up 0.3% last month. Refinitiv says economists had predicted a decline. The number includes physical stores, online retailers, and restaurants, with numbers adjusted for seasonality but not inflation. The Commerce Department reports increases in all categories except gas stations and miscellaneous stores. The Southern Baptist Convention is kicking out a Kentucky church. Louisville's Fern Creek Baptist Church is no longer affiliated with the National Convention. They got voted out yesterday for having a female pastor, Linda Barnes Popham. She's held that position for 30 years. Her congregation is standing behind her.
We believe that God is greater than the Southern Baptist Convention. He's a lot bigger than that, and he has wonderful opportunities awaiting us. We're bound for greater things.
The church got a letter from the Kentucky Baptist Convention saying they would also be kicked out of that group. Southern Baptist leaders say having a female pastor violates guidance set in the year 2000.